everyone, today I'd like to do a quick review. This review was requested by my good friend Moody for Chanel Cake Eyeliner. It's called Chanel Ligne de Chanel. It comes in a pouch. As you can see, I've got two. That's because I feared I'd lost this, went out and bought another one immediately. So just to set the scene, that's how much I love this. It's fairly self-explanatory. Take a brush, and it comes with some brushes, and you just wet them under the tap. Don't need to use anything special, and you've got one square of black and one square ostensibly of glitter black. However, I've used the glitter on this eye and the matte black on that eye, and literally they are identical. Now, when I first got this, I think I did a haul and I mentioned that the brushes which come with it were not as bad as usual brushes. So you get one little liner and you get one little smudger. Just because it's my habit, I threw away the brushes. However, I was recently watching a video by Glitzy, and here on YouTube, and she mentioned how much she loved this, and she said the brushes were amazing. So luckily I've got this quite new compact which I haven't thrown the brushes away yet. So I've taken to actually using this, and she's right, it is quite good, and you can actually stack the brushes up and make it into a tall brush like that if you don't like short brushes. I just use it short and it's brilliant. However, my favourite brush to use with this is a Louise Young brush, and they're just exquisite. I've spoken about them before. Both of these come out exactly the same, very deep, true black. You just dip your brush in, and the best thing about cake liners is that they never go rancid. I'm sure you could find a cake liner from 40 years ago and probably still just dip your brush in, just as good as the day it was first made. So that's one difference between something like a fluid line. So once you've used it, it will be a little wet, so just leave it open, but it dries really quickly. You get this beautiful jet matte black, and the shimmer one, when you use it on your eye, it just doesn't seem to show up at all. But to my mind, that's a good thing because I don't really need shimmer. The fact that they go on identical is not a bad thing for me. What I love about this is that it's so jet black and it lasts so well. You only need a tiny amount, you need less than that for your eyes. It's just shy of £30, I think it's £27, so it is a bit much, but as I say, it never dries up, it never goes rancid. Once you've got it, it will do hundreds of eye applications, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was more cost effective than a fluid line or a pencil. Brief overview of some liners that I've used, cake liners. Trish McAvoy, of course, do her famous definers, so the texture is not the same. It is like a shadow. You can't use this as an eyeshadow really, but the definers you can use as a really intense eyeshadow, or you can wet your push brush ideally and use it as a liner. Now, I use a push brush with those, and that's what I go for when I want a very natural look, just to thicken up my lash line in a very natural, imperceptible way. I've also tried the Laura Mercier famous cake liners, and the black one is practically as good as this. I would say they're more or less on a par. They've got a brown one which is called Mahogany, and that one I used to love, but I think they reformulated it because when I bought it again it was a somewhat reddish toned brown. It had a sort of leaning towards red toned brown, and on me that was just really unflattering. So perhaps if you have blue eyes, that would be something to look into, because it did go on very nicely, but I just didn't appreciate the colour. And got their blue one, which I think is called Blue Marine. That one was like a totally different brand. Just went on really watery and horrid. In terms of colour, kind of stormy sky, dusky blue, rather than a dark navy, but I don't mind that. It just didn't go on nicely at all, so I would not recommend that. I've also used a Laura Geller cake liner, and the one which I got was a split pan, and it was called Blueberry Chocolate, I think, and that one had a really good navy, which was what I wanted the Laura Mercier to be, a deep dark blue, and the brown was like a brown that I wished Laura Mercier had stuck with. So I highly recommend those. I haven't heard people speak about that. It's a bit harder to get hold of. Chanel is very easy to get hold of. This one is permanent. And I think if you haven't tried cake liners before, the greatest thing about them is that they give you that really retro, true liner. And if you're like me and you love that winged eyeliner look, then it just looks a million times better if you go for cake liner. Look like those 1940s actresses. There's something more modern about a gel liner. It doesn't seem to give the same effect of a true old Hollywood, for want of a better explanation. It seems to be quite resilient for something like a gym workout or a long day out in any kind of weather. I'm not sure if it would really last through a downpour without an umbrella, but it seems to last through normal wear and tear. Definitely worth it. One of these, as I said, will last you just forever. And also even the brushes which come with it are not bad at all. I hope that helped.